All right, we are back to the phones and David. David, hello.
Hey, Steve. Hey, I hate to bother you again. I know you was doing a segment on Vanderbilt football, and I'm going to be honest with you. During the last 2 years, they may have won 5 or 6 games. It's going to take more than an offensive coordinator to put the Vanderbilt football program back on the map. And until they do something, they're going to be just like they are right now. They're going to be lucky to win 3 or 4 games. If they think they're going to go to a bowl, they've got to do something besides what they're doing now, or they ain't going to go anywhere. And I hate to say that because you know how big a Vanderbilt fan I am.
So what do they have to do in your mind?
They've got to get somebody besides an offensive coordinator to be the head coach of Vanderbilt, because during the last 2 years, they have not proven that they can do anything with Franklin. I've told my best friend this. I've said until they get rid of Franklin, they're going to do absolutely nothing.
You mean Mason?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously the results haven't been where Vanderbilt wants over the last couple of years, but that was an interesting position because here, and it's kind of played itself out with James Franklin at Penn State. James Franklin won at Vanderbilt because of his defense. That's why he won at Vanderbilt. And because of Bob Shoop and what he did on that side of the ball. Franklin's offenses were never much to look at. And frankly, there wasn't much talent when he left. You lose a guy like Jordan Matthews. You lose a guy like Zach Stacy, who's doing well in the NFL now. There just wasn't much behind those guys. And that's what the new coaching staff had to deal with. There weren't perimeter threats out there. You didn't have a locked-in quarterback that you could count on. Franklin got lucky in his quarterbacks in the fact that he ran with guys who were experienced. Maybe not stars, but they were experienced and knew the college game. That's what he got to deal with. This staff has dealt with young guys. Maybe young guys with promise, but guys who haven't played. And that's what they've been trying to win with up to this point. That's tough. And the defense has still been pretty good this past season. They were terrific when Derek Mason put a lot of emphasis on being over on that side of the ball. I think you can expect more improvement from Mason and his staff this year. I don't know if it's going to be enough to get him to a bowl game. I think the SEC East is about to turn the corner and start to get much, much tougher than it's been in recent years. That's probably not good for Vandy or for Coach Mason. But I think they're making progress in what they're doing over there. And a big part of the offense is going to be finding that quarterback you can count on. Maybe they already have. And finding the playmakers outside. C.J. Duncan back at practice today after missing all of last year. That's a help. Getting guys like that who can be playmakers for you, that's a real help. That's what Derek Mason is counting on. Vanderbilt kicked off spring practice bright and early this morning, 7 o'clock over at the indoor practice facility. We caught up with Coach Derek Mason afterwards.
Derek, just first day, what was your perspective on how it looked?
Guys flew around. It's good to get back on the grass. You can tell on both sides of the ball that guys have an idea what they're doing. It's not new. And we just talked about the effort. We'll clean it up just in terms of the film. But I thought the movement, the energy, execution for the most part was pretty good for day one. You
got with Kyle Shermer, you got a guy that could be your starting quarterback, but I'm sure you also want him to earn that spot. How do you balance those two?
We just have to continue, to push his envelope. Here's the deal, man. We got a quarterback battle going on. Okay, man, the way we ended, was great. That left Kyle at the #1 spot, but here's what's happening now. It's recalibrated. These guys are started back ground zero, and now what we have to do is make sure that he is the best guy. And you know what, man, we'll have a chance to see over the next couple of weeks what that looks like.
C.J. Duncan is back. What can he do for you, fully healthy and ready to go?
C.J. is explosive, can make plays for us. He made a couple today. It was good to see him back out on the field because we really missed his dynamic playmaking ability. He made a couple of nice catches in the pocket, down the seam today, and that's exactly what we need from him. Big catches and big times.
Is he 100%, 90%, 95%?
He's 100%. He's 100% right now. CJ's 100%. Pinkney's 100%. So it's good to see Pinkney get out there as well and make some plays.
You seeing Shermer being able to retain all the stuff that he learned in the fall and maybe take another step forward?
I do. Kyle's a gym rat. He's a coach's son. He understands football. We definitely expect all our guys to be that way. I see Stan Cabbage as being that way too. These guys have done a good job coming in during the offseason, jumping on virtual reality and trying to make, what they saw last season come alive so that they can come out here and have a productive spring.
Is this a special time for you? Because you really seem to enjoy teaching the guys out here on the field.
Hey, best time of the year for me. When I get a chance, other than fall, it gives me a chance to get back to, doing what I do. I'm a teacher by trade. So, having a chance to get in front of these guys, talk about the simple things, what they saw, how we can be better, how to communicate. That's what we have to do out here on the football field so we can take it from the class to the grass and play good football.
Nigel Bowden's out here. Is he 100%? How is he physically?
Nigel's 100%. Again, good to see him out here. He did a great job in directing the defense, made a couple of plays in the run fits, in the run game. It's just about him getting back out here and just getting his feet underneath him. But I thought today was a good, first step for him just in terms of, processing all the information, making the calls, and getting us lined up.
When we talk about CJ and Pinckney and Nigel and all those are guys that in Jelks.
Yeah.
You didn't. What's the feeling of, hey, we have guys that didn't even get to play last year?
Exciting. For me, just to see all those guys back out on the grass and see these guys move around a little bit, our football team looks different. It looks more athletic. It looks a little more confident because those guys have played in ball games. So when they tell guys to move, they move. It's not always the coaches talking about what we need to do. It's those guys, those leaders, those guys who are invested and played a lot of football here.
Derek, is there something to be said for just getting out here, fresh start early in the morning, getting these guys waking up, playing some football?
Well, it is. I like the idea of getting these guys up early because we get them when they're fresh. Anytime you can get them when they're fresh, you can have strong retention as well as great effort, and that's what we're looking for early in the morning. Great retention, great effort, and hopefully with that, man, we can continue on through these 15 practices to make sure that this football team looks exactly the way we want it to look.
How much is there to get in these 15 practices? Do you try to cram a lot in, or is it more the basics? How does that work?
It's all about fundamentals. I think you always come back to the basics. We have to be about the things that allow us to play good football, and fundamental football is built now. You try to get in the scheme, and you can do too much scheme in the spring. We got to be about the things on offense that allow us to move the football, have a strong run game, and get the ball down the field so we can score points. Defensively, it's got to be about making sure that we get ourselves off the field. We're good on first and second down, and we create opportunities to rush the passer on third.
Is scoring points, figuring that out, the top priority for you heading into next season? Because your defense obviously did a great job, but points maybe weren't as good as you wanted.
Points have to be a priority for us, and it's partially points and being able to manufacture drives and finishing drives, and to put points on the board. So I think, and they've got a good pulse on what they want to do now. They're just learning their offensive personnel, and we're going to finish this thing up, man, with a great spring game.
What do you hope to get out of the new offensive line coach?
Cameron is great to see. High energy, understands exactly what I want in terms of making these guys, accountable for every play that they play. And I saw these guys today, man, they were hungry, man, they fought, and they battled. Okay, man, with every snap, a 9-on-7, individual, one-on-ones. It just looks a little different. It looks more along the lines of what Andy wanted and I asked for. So, and I'm pleased with what I saw first day, and we'll get a chance to, go through it on tape, and then we'll make some corrections and keep it moving.
Derek, was Ralph Webb maybe just a tad bit quicker and faster than he left off a year ago?
It seems like every time I see Ralph, he looks to be a little bigger, a little faster, a little quicker. And I think it's just a guy who's really starting to understand what he needs to do in order to be an impact player in this conference and on this football team.
Thank you, Coach.